What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another video on high altitude investing. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Dogecoin and why I personally think it's a great time to sell. Before we get started though, if you're not a member of the free Discord, please click the link in the description box below and get started with the free Discord. And without further ado, we'll get straight into today's video. So we're going to start off here on the daily candlesticks with Dogecoin. And the first thing I want to show you guys here on the daily candlesticks is a rising wedge pattern here with Dogecoin. You guys can see that we do have a rising wedge, which we broke bearish out of and came up and retested the bottom of the wedge as resistance. So that's a pretty bearish pattern here with Dogecoin. You guys can also see that we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up here. And now, if we take our ABC correction tool, you guys can see wave A, wave B, and we're getting ready for wave C. So wave C should take us back down to the support level here in between wave 1 and wave 2. Now, why do I think this is going to happen? Well, multiple reasons. First of all, we did break bearish out of the rising wedge. Second of all, generally when you have an Elliott wave cycle like this, everybody wants the correction to end really quickly. Everybody wants the correction to be really small like this. Oh, look, the ABC is done, and then just moon again. But in all reality, most all of these Elliott wave cycles end up having a correction that's bigger than people think it will be. And there's always a second opportunity to sell the market and preparation for that wave C that takes us lower. And if we just take our Elliott wave example here and drop it onto this chart, you can see that Dogecoin is a perfect example of an Elliott wave cycle. So for us to pull back down to the 786 level on Dogecoin is extremely typical for these types of moves. So let's just go ahead and add the 786 level here. That would be very, very typical for this type of Elliott wave cycle to pull back down to the 786 level here with Dogecoin. Now, the other thing is these markets often have a final capitulation event before the bull market starts. Now, Dogecoin did show early signs of a bull market starting, but if you guys check out Cardano, for example, back in its previous cycle, a lot of people don't realize that these coins often have a final capitulation where everybody panics, everybody sells out, and there's almost always some type of crazy news event associated with it. But the market just has to capitulate in every single cycle, and Dogecoin really hasn't had this kind of a capitulation event yet. It went sideways, it bottomed out a little bit, started to show some signs of strength, which is very common to have happen right before a final capitulation event. So that's another thing that I'm looking at here with Dogecoin. You guys, if you take a look at the S&P 500 as well in the stock market, and we go out to a bigger time frame here, like the 4-day or the 5-day, actually not the 4-day, if we drop back down to the daily, and then we throw our MACD on here and take a look at what's happening here with the S&P 500. You guys can see that there's a lot of bearish divergence here on the S&P 500 on the daily time frame. And bearish divergence is a very, very strong sell signal. We're also at resistance. This is a resistance zone up here. So to have a pullback here on the S&P 500 would be very, very healthy, very common, and bearish divergence is one of the most powerful sell signals that there is. So to have a pullback on the S&P 500 would be a very, very expected thing to have happen here as a result of that bearish divergence. So yeah, keep your eyes on the stock market. Crypto has a 90% correlation to the stock market. And yeah, so if we pull back here on the S&P 500, we're definitely going to pull back on crypto as well. So another thing that I'm looking at here with the crypto markets is we do have head and shoulders patterns popping up on multiple different coins. Like Pepe, for example, does have a head and shoulders pattern here. We have our left shoulder, our right shoulder, and our head. This is a very, very common bearish pattern. So to have this market pull back as a result of this head and shoulders pattern would not shock me in the slightest. And also Art Block is another great example of one of these head and shoulders patterns. So a lot of people are saying, okay, well, you know, I think crypto is just going to moon. And you guys have to remember that markets just don't instantly moon. You know, when they go up really high, they have to pull back. And Arc Block here is a great example of a head and shoulders top. And when these things start falling, they fall faster and faster and faster. So Bitcoin being set up to pull back to 50K per Bitcoin, and rising wedges popping up on coins like Arc Block as well as head and shoulders patterns. There's a bunch of bearish patterns here in crypto, and people are FOMO buying and they're getting chopped up in the shorter time frames thinking we're just going to straight moon. And I really don't think that's going to be the case. I think we have to have a healthy pullback over the summer before we keep going up. And yeah, I think we will keep going up in crypto, but a healthy pullback is definitely set up in these charts. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin here. And just, you know, people are getting chopped up all around right here on this time frame. But if you focus on what's really important, which is our ABC correction on the total crypto market cap, then you'll begin to see, okay, well, people are just getting chopped up because they think it's going to go up. And they're not willing to look at a different kind of view here where maybe the market has a pullback. And wave 2 always causes a lot of FOMO. People always think, oh, we're going to moon here. In between wave B and wave C, you get 5 waves down, 5 impulse waves down. And that 2 wave, that second wave here on the impulse waves down, ends up getting a lot of people confused. They think it's going to moon because wave 2 is happening. And really, it's just a great setup to short the market in preparation for wave 3, or take profits if you don't play with leverage, or if you're not a leverage trader yourself, then go ahead and take profit there at wave 2 at that last good opportunity before wave C happens. So yeah, that looks really bearish here with Bitcoin. I know a lot of people are FOMO buying right now, but you guys, the markets are weak. There's a lot of overextended coins in the markets. Let's go back over to Arc Block one more time here to show you what I mean by overextended. Look at this coin. You know, that is, if that's not a classic crypto market cycle, I don't know what is. You know, this thing is so overextended. It went significantly past what people thought it was going to do, and now it's super overextended and it needs to pull back. You know, it needs to have a nice, healthy correction here before we can go higher. So it's not only Arc Block, Pepe is overextended. These are the coins that are leaders in the market, you know? These are the coins that were leading the uptrend. And so if they're overextended, ready for pullbacks, showing bearish patterns, all those coins that were lagging behind are going to get wrecked when these coins pull back. And yeah, because of that, people are buying all the lagging coins expecting a big moon in them, and they're going to really be surprised when Pepe and Arc Block continue to pull back here, and Bitcoin starts to pull back, Ethereum starts to pull back, and all the rest of the entire market sees a pretty significant crash. You know, this is 5 waves up here on Pepe, and really if you go out to a bigger time frame, like on charts.cointrader, we can go to a bigger time frame and do a more complete Elliott wave count here with Pepe. if you just invert this really quick so it's easier to see, go over to Pepe. I love charts.cointrader.pro as a free kind of version of TradingView if you don't have the money to buy TradingView. Then you can use charts.cointrader.pro and do a lot of analysis on here. But the only downside, you can't do black charts where it's night mode. So you can install an extension called invert and invert the chart and then just change the colors of the candlesticks so that it looks just like how it normally would if you were indeed using the night edition on TradingView, because it's easier to see, right? So here you guys can see in the bigger time frame, we're very, very overextended here with Pepe. And if you look here, we have wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3, and I'm expecting wave 4 to happen before we can go higher in the market. And you can even subdivide the subwaves here on wave 3 out to wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. So a correction is needed in this market. A healthy correction. It could pull back to the previous resistance at wave 3, or it could go all the way down into wave 4. You know, wave 3 can have pretty big pullbacks sometimes. Now, do I think that we're going to recover and keep going up after this? Yes. I mean, like, let's go back over to Bitcoin and I'll show you the Bitcoin gold example one more time. I've showed it in previous videos here a little bit, but it really is one of the most useful things to look at if you're trying to time this market here on Bitcoin and play the charts, because people always say that they're holders until the market pulls back and then they wish they would have found somebody that knew what was going to happen. They're always like, oh, I'm a holder, you know, I don't do anything but hold. Yeah, well, that's what everybody says, but then when the market pulls back, they're always like looking for people that knew what happened so that they can follow them next time. So you're not a holder, you just are too scared to sell because you think it's going to go higher is what's really going on. So you see this right here where gold came right up near the previous all-time high. Everybody was FOMO buying. That's exactly what's happening here with Bitcoin right now. We came back up to that all-time high. People are FOMO buying. And even if you zoom in on gold, you can even see that gold also had that same FOMO spike. It turned into a red candle because it couldn't keep going up. But that spike we saw today, gold also tried to go up to resistance again. People were FOMO buying. That is wave 2 on the Elliott wave count. So let's do A, B, and C. And then you can you can count the subwaves in between wave B and C. And you'll see here really easily that there's wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5, right? That's exactly what Bitcoin is doing right now. That's what I showed you earlier in this video. Let's go ahead and draw the cup and handle here with Bitcoin and with gold, and I'll show you what we're looking at here. So here's our cup. And then we're just barely starting that handle. We need to pull back a little bit more, like how gold did, to finish that handle pattern. And everybody is FOMO buying the exact place that people FOMO bought gold, in that same point in its cycle. And like I said, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. On the smaller time frame, wave 2 is why people are even FOMO buying more right now. So it's just, you know, this happens a lot. The human psychology moves markets, and if you don't understand that, then you get chopped up. And if you don't understand how to play what the whales are playing and looking at what the whales are looking at, then you're going to get chopped up in these markets. But once you kind of learn how to spot some of these things, it ends up being pretty simple. And you see stuff, oh, nobody's seeing this, but I see it. And I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody so they know, so that when the market pulls back, they have cash on hand ready to buy the dip. This is the exact same thing that gold did, right? This is the same human psychology. We're at major all-time high resistance, and everybody's drawing supermoon charts and FOMO buying. And nobody's willing to look at a healthy pullback to major support. If that's not mania and euphoria and delusional thinking, I don't know what is, right? So yeah, get ready for a pullback here on Bitcoin and with Ethereum and with Dogecoin and pretty much the whole crypto space. As we pull back here, everybody's going to panic sell the bottom of the cup and handle, thinking we're ready for a bear market or triple top or something crazy, right before we start going back into a big picture bull market. So yeah, you guys, don't lose your hope in the crypto markets. Take some profit off the table, but when it pulls back, don't lose your hope, because this thing will recover and this thing will go significantly higher than its previous all-time high. And if you're able to take profit now and buy the dip, you're going to be sitting on a whole bunch of profit, and you're going to have a much bigger total stack of whatever your favorite coin is than if you tried to hold through all of this. So being a holder is really a myth. It doesn't, like I said, everybody says that at the top of the market. Everybody's a holder thinking long-term, thinking, oh, I'm going to be in this for 15 years at the top. And then when it pulls back, they get scared and panic sell. So nobody's really a holder. You know, they just think that they want to be. So yeah, I see a lot of bearishness on a lot of different coins, bearish setups. I'm not saying we're going to go into a multi-year bear market. That's too bearish. But I am saying we will have a summer correction. And that's my views on Dogecoin and some of these other coins, Bitcoin, Pepe, and ArcBlock. And you guys, if Bitcoin pulls back, if Pepe pulls back, if Dogecoin pulls back, all your coins are going to pull back. If you have 50% in cash, you can buy the dip. But if you don't, you can't buy the dip at all. So yeah, have some cash on the sidelines for when these markets pull back. So yeah, that's everything today. Hope it was helpful and useful. Thank you for taking a minute to tune in to the Dogecoin analysis. Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. I hope you learned something and found it valuable. If you did, please do me a favor and share it with your friends. And I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos. As always, stay profitable out there.